Hello, everyone. It is now 3 p.m. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started with our website content webinar today. So thank you all very much for joining. So my name is Michael, and this is my co-host, Sean. Today, we'll be bringing you through all of the different types of content that you can create and set up within your own Club Runner website. There are a few things before we get started that I do want to address. For all of you, this webinar will be recorded, and we will be posting the recordings for the webinar on our clubrunnercommunity.com website. So if any of you have to drop out at any point, or for some reason you know someone that may not have been able to attend, you'll be able to review that recording in the coming weeks. Also, if you guys have any questions at any point during the webinar, feel free to put all of your questions into the Q&A section of Zoom. That'll be available at the bottom toolbar of your Zoom client. And if you go ahead and click on the Q&A button, you'll be able to ask any questions you may have. And Sean here will be going through and answering them all as they come in. And there was one final thing that I wanted to bring up. In some of our previous webinars, we did get some feedback regarding the share screen for what we're doing and what we're acting on in the webinar was a little bit too small. If you do see that you are running into this and you'd like to see if you can make it a little bit bigger, within your Zoom client, go ahead and click on the view menu in the top right corner, and that will allow you to select between a couple of different ways that you can view the webinar, and you'll be able to select which one suits you the best. So we're going to go ahead and we'll get started. So the few things that we will be covering today, in particular, we'll be talking about how you can go about creating and publishing things like stories and news and like links to your club's website. How you can go about uploading any club documents that you would like to remain private, as well as any public files that you'd like to share on your website as well. And we'll also be covering a couple things like how to add upcoming speakers and calendar items to your club's calendar, as well as a couple other tips and tricks that you can do when you're working within Club Runner, like adjusting photos or embedding any YouTube videos to your stories or widgets. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. So we are already logged in to our Rotary Club here. In this case, we are on the Rotary Club of Greentown. This is one of our testing environments that we can go through and we can play around with things and show things off to people in our webinars. The first thing that we're going to go through is we're going to talk about how we can share items like news or just updates with the club. And to do that, we're going to create what we call a story. So to do that, once we're logged into our club's website, in the top blue navigation bar, we're going to go ahead and click on website. And from here, we can go ahead and click website content in the secondary bar that's just below it. So if we click on that website content button, actually, let me zoom in just a little bit to make this a little bit more visible. You'll be brought to this getting started page where we can see a whole host of different homepage content that is available for us to access. So in this case, we have two different items that we want to access. We have homepage stories and we have homepage news. And we'll get into this a little bit, just a little bit, but these are essentially the same thing, but not really. They're two different categories that you can use to organize between different articles that you post to your club's website. So in this case, let's go ahead and click on homepage news. And as you can see, we have a couple that are listed here already. We have the Rotary Foundation named World's Outstanding Foundation for 2016, World Polio Day, and another article about a young inventor. From here, this is where we can go about adding in a couple of different. We can go ahead about adding in additional stories or news items to our news for our homepage. And while we're looking at this page, you may have noticed that we have a nice yellow notification up at the top that indicates that the news widget has not been added to our homepage. So before we go about adding a news article to our website, we have to make sure that widget is available on the website itself. So we're going to go ahead and quickly access the homepage designer by going in the top right corner in the top blue bar to new website beta and then homepage designer. And just a reminder, in order to access this homepage designer, you will need an access level of 30. But other than this, just about everything else we'll be covering will require an access level of 60, which is an editor. If you don't have access to any of these tools, feel free to reach out to another one of your club executives who does have access, or one of your site administrators, and they'll be able to upgrade your access level if necessary. So we are on the homepage designer, and I'm very quickly going to drag and drop the homepage news widget onto our website. And as you can see here, we now have two widgets that are listed. We have our club stories and we have our homepage news. We'll be adding stories to each one of them in just a little bit. So let's go ahead and publish our changes. And you get a nice little message to show that it has been published successfully. So in the top right corner, we'll click go back. And this will bring us right back to our news for homepage story or page. And now we can see that big yellow notice button is no longer there. So now that we have that news widget on our homepage, we can go ahead and we can add a new story by clicking on the add stories from the story library. So we're going to go ahead and click on that, and it will bring up a list of all of the existing stories that our club has already created. So if you wanted to go about adding a new story into the stories widget, you'll have to go about creating that first, which we will cover in just a little bit. So once we've clicked on that add stories from stories library button, we are brought to this page where we can now select between a bunch of different homepage news articles that we can add. So let's go ahead and we can add a few. Let's say we'll select the fundraiser for COVID masks, as well as the club barbecue April 24th. So let's go ahead. Once we've selected all of our stories that we'd like to add to the news widget, we can go ahead and click on the add selected stories button. And once that's done, you'll get a nice little notification at the top of the page, just saying that the stories that have been successfully added to the homepage news widget. And if we go back down, we can see the fundraiser for COVID masks, as well as the club barbecue April 24th articles that we've added are now available on the widget. So if we were to go and navigate to our homepage here. Oh, there we go. So we are now on the homepage, and we're just going to, sorry about that. We're going to go ahead and refresh the page. And you can now see that our homepage news widget now lists the fundraisers for COVID masks, the club barbecue April 24th story as well, and all of the other stories that we already had listed there. So from here, that's how you can go about adding news articles to your club's homepage. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to show you how you can create new stories that you can either include within the main stories widget, as you can see here listed as club stories and projects, or you can choose to add them to the homepage news widget as well. So let's go ahead and we will go back to our page that we were just on. So we are back in the member area, and we are now back on that news for homepage area that we were on previously. So now we want to create a new story. To do that, there's a few ways we can get to the page that we want to go to. In this case, we can go ahead and simply click on the story library button that's listed along with the go-to options that are listed here. Or you can click on the stories widget, and that will bring you to directly to edit the widget itself. But in this case, we're going to go ahead and click on story library. And from here, we are brought to the story library page, where we can see a list of all of the different articles or stories that have been created within Club Runner. These can all be displayed within either the stories widget or the news widget. It's entirely up to the club and how you would like to organize them, but you can think of the story library essentially as a repository for all of your different news articles and any updates you would like to share with the club. So when we are on the story library page, if we would like to create a new story, all we have to do is go ahead and click on the Create New Story button. And this will bring us to the new page where we can start entering in all of the different information for our new story. Up at the top, you'll see an option that will allow you to copy from an existing story. So if we were to click this, it will provide you with a list of all of the existing stories that your club already has. And you'll be able to select one of them to create a copy of it within your new story. So it'll essentially fill in all of these fields automatically with the content from that previous story. But in this case, we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill all of this in manually, just so you guys have an idea of what everything is. So let's go ahead and we can start entering in some information about our story and its settings. From here, we have a couple of different options that are available. So for example, the very first one we have is the title. And this is exactly what you may think it is. This is what you can enter in as the title for our story. So just for the sake of an example, we'll go ahead and we'll say Club Runner website content webinar. This can be just about whatever you would like. It doesn't have to be this, but this is just something that we can go ahead and we can enter so we can keep going. If you wanted to format this story, oh, there we go. If you wanted to format the story, you can go, or this title, you can go ahead and click on the format link. And this will bring up a toolbar that you can use to edit the text within this title field. So for example, we can make it bold, we can change the font size, we can change the paragraph style of it, you can choose to underline it, you can change its color, you can do all of that sorts of stuff from this formatting window. So in this case, we'll go ahead and leave it as bold, how it is now. And then we'll also change the color to red, just to give it a nice little bit of pop when we add it to our homepage. Next, we have the permalink field. This will automatically be filled in based on what you have entered into the Club Runner or into the title field. And what this will do is it will change the website address or the URL of the story itself. I generally recommend leaving this as it is, but for our advanced users, if you really want to adjust this, you can go ahead and do that using this permalink field. Next, we have our author field, and of course, this will let you select the individual who had wrote the item, and you can advertise that on the club's website. So let's go ahead and we'll enter in some information. And we begin typing in the individual's name, and you'll get a nice big list of anyone that may be matching up the information that you've entered. So in this case, we've entered John, and we have a few names listed here. In this case, we'll go ahead and click John Valentine as the author. And if you may notice this little eye icon that's next to it, if you hover your mouse cursor over it, I'm not sure if you're able to see this through the screen share, but you do get a nice little pop-up that indicates that this will either show or hide the author. So currently, this is set to show the author by default. However, if we were to click on this hide option, this will now make it so that the author is no longer visible. If we were to go ahead, and you'll also see this for the date. So you can choose to show or hide the date of the story itself. But if you did want to change the date, you can go ahead and click on that little calendar icon within the date field. And you'll be able to individually select between the month, the year, and the individual date. So let's go ahead and select a date of, we'll set it for today. So we'll leave it to July 2021, and today is Friday the 23rd. So we will select that. Next, we can go about and we can also choose to enable the social media bar. If we were to select this checkbox, When we were to actually go in and view the full page for our story, this will include a nice little bar with a couple different social media icons. And what this will let you do is let you click on the icon to share the story with that social media on your own feed. So it'll let you take a post within Club Runner, and you can share that information and the link to the story on any of the social media that are listed. So we'll leave this as checked for now, just so we can show you guys an example of what this looks like once we're done setting up the story. And then your final option is, you may have noticed this, is on the right-hand side, there's a big white box with some text that says change. This is where we can set a logo, or should I, so to speak, for our club story. So let's go ahead and click on change here, and you'll be brought with two options, edit or delete. We don't have anything in there currently, so we're going to just go ahead and click on edit. And this will bring up a new window for you to take a look at. And this is your club's image library. So this will contain a whole host of different images that your club has uploaded, if your club has uploaded anything so far. And you'll see a big list of everything that has been uploaded to the club's website over time. If you wanted to select an individual one of these images, you can simply go ahead and double click on one of them. So if we were to double click on the Serve to Change Lives Rotary theme logo, you can see that image has now been loaded as the story image. And this will appear within the story just as a nice little add-on. You can also choose to upload additional photos. And if you wanted to do that instead, let's go ahead and we'll reopen up that image library. From there, you can choose to upload up in the top bar there, and that will open up your operating system's file explorer. So I am on Windows, so that's been opened up for me. And now we can navigate to where we want where our image and stuff is stored, and we can select it from our computer. Once you've selected it, go ahead and click on the Open button. This may change depending on what operating system you're using, so this may look different if you're on an older version of Windows or if you're using an Apple computer. That all depends on what kind of device you're using. But for me, I have this open option, so we're going to go ahead and click on that. And as you can see, the image that we've just chosen to upload, the CR icon that we have here, is now available within our image library, and we can select that as our image as well. So we will leave, so that's everything for the story settings, and we'll leave it at that. Once we scroll down just a little bit, you'll see a couple of other options or a couple other sections that you can start entering in content into. These are labeled the story brief and the story content. And these are two different areas of your story in order to kind of separate the content that's included within them. And you'll get a better idea of what I'm talking about in just a little bit once we finish setting up the story. But essentially, the story brief, this is what will appear on your club's website in the stories widget or the news widget, and as a kind of preview to the story itself. Or you can use it to act as kind of a summary. So anything that's been entered into the story brief is what will appear on the club's website. But the story content, this will still be a part of the story. However, it won't appear on the homepage or any of the widgets. Instead, when you have stuff entered into the story content, within the stories or news widget, along with the story brief, you'll get a nice little README link or button that you can click on. And that will bring you to a new page where you can review the full story that has been entered within Club Runner. So whatever has been entered into the story content will be that extra content that is viewable on the full page. So typically, I like to recommend that you enter in the first handful of sentences or the first paragraph of your story into the story brief, and you can use that to kind of gather the attention of visitors to your website And if they want to read more about the story itself, they can click on that read more link or button to access and read the rest of everything that has been included in the story content. So that's a good way to think about this. And again, once we finish setting up the story, you'll understand this a little bit better. So let's go ahead and we'll start entering in information into our story. So there's a couple of different things that you can do here. So for one, you can regularly enter in some text. So let's say we'll just enter in a quick sentence. So we've entered in our sentence here. And but that's not all you can really do. Of course, you can choose to format the text that we've entered. So you can use any of your standard word formatting options, bold, italic, underline, strike through, all of this sorts of stuff. You can change the font size. You can change the font itself, as well as all of these different tools that are listed here. If you say, for example, you wanted to include an image within your story, other than the story logo or the story image we've added up here, we can do that as well. So in order to add an image, what we're going to want to do is in this big toolbar that we have access to, we're going to go ahead and click on the image icon. And this will pop open with a new image properties window where we can start providing some information regarding how we want this image to appear. But before we do all of that, we first want to select the image that we're going to have appear in our story first off. So to do that, where you see this, the very first field that you see is the URL field. Along this field, you'll find the Browse Server button. If you were to click on this button, you will be once again brought to the image library for your club. And I'm just going to make this just a little bit bigger. And you can see all of the images that we have available on our club's website. And just like before, you can choose to upload a new photo, or you can select one of the ones that are already available within the club's website. So let's just go ahead and we will select a random one here. Let's select this one here. Just by double clicking on it. And once you've double clicked on it, the image library will close. And you can see the URL field has now been filled in with a link to that image that you've selected. And you can now see that the preview has been updated to include our photo. And you can, of course, you can use these scroll bars to go up and down and side to side. But this image looks a little bit too big. It's not going to appear right. Let's actually let's go ahead and see what this looks like if we were just go ahead and click OK as it is. So we've clicked OK and we've added in our image. But again, it's too big for us. It's taking up too much space, and we have to actually expand the story brief window to actually be able to see the entire thing. So if you run into this and you want to kind of go ahead and change the size of your image, you can go ahead and right click on the image that you've added and then click on the image properties button in the window that pops up. And you'll be brought right back to that very same image properties window that we clicked on when we initially added the image. So from here, you may notice a couple of different options, mainly the width and the height options. This is what you can use to change and adjust how big that image appears within Club Runner or within your story. So this is all entered within the unit pixels. So if we were to go ahead and type in, let's reduce it by half, the width by half. So we'll go ahead and enter 250 for the width. And if you were paying attention, you may notice that the height field, when we changed the width field, was automatically adjusted. So again, let's go back to 500, and this time pay attention to that height field that's just below. So we're at 250 right now. If we were to go ahead and enter 500, that height has now adjusted to 333. This is done automatically by Club Runner so that the aspect ratio of your image doesn't get skewed a little bit. So if you were to go about and you were to change 250, and that height didn't change, then it would actually become the image will become stretched or skewed just a little bit. So that will make the width smaller from that original 500, but the height of the image will stay exactly the same. Actually, let's go ahead and we can show you what that might look like. Next to the width and the height options, we have a few buttons that are available. One is the little lock icon, and what this will do is it will lock the ratio, so that, as I mentioned before, when you change one of the width or height options, it will automatically adjust the other one. If we were to click on it, you can see that the image updates to an unlocked icon. And now whenever if we were to go back and enter the width or the height, so let's enter 500 again. This time that height didn't change. And this time we're gonna go ahead and click OK. And you can see that now, since we didn't change the height, and we only changed the width, the image looks a little stretched out. So let's go ahead and fix that by right-clicking and go back to image properties. And now we can click on the second icon that appears there to reset the size. When we click on that, it will automatically adjust the width and height fields back to what they were originally before we changed anything around. So let's lock our aspect ratio once again, and then we'll change our width back to 250, and our height will automatically adjust to 167. Now there are a couple other options that are available here. There is border, where if we were to enter in an amount in pixels, you can see a nice border appears around the image itself. So you can see this nice black border, and if we were to click OK, that would appear within our story brief as well. However, but if we want to, we can change this to whatever we want. So if we can go to 10, we can go to 15, whatever you would like. Let's leave it at 5 for now. Next, we have the H space and the V space options. What these will let you do is it'll let you set a little bit of a padding along the edges of your images. So it'll make it so that the text included within your story won't come up right next to the image itself. So I'm actually going to go ahead and click OK, and I'm going to add in some additional text. So I'm just going to take this, I'm going to copy it a couple times, and then I'm actually going to drag and drop this image right up at the top so that it's listed there, or right at the top of the page. And we're going to go back into our image properties. And this time I'm actually going to go ahead and change the alignment of the image so that it fits a little bit more along with the text that we've added, so we can give you a better example of those H space and V space options. So we're going to select the align option, and then we're going to align it to the left. And what this will do is, and when we click OK, it will change the format of the text so that the image will appear to the left of all of our text. And if you notice, the text that we have here appears very, very, very close to the image itself, and that doesn't look too good. So what we can do with those H space and V space fields, we can enter in that padding or buffer area for the image itself. So if we were to say enter in an H space of 10 and a V space of 10 and click OK, this will add a buffer zone or some padding to the edge of the images with that amount that you've entered. So currently we have a horizontal padding of 10 pixels and a vertical padding of 10 pixels. So any text that appears to the right or left of your image, as well as below, will have that 10 pixel border around it so that it doesn't, so that your text isn't touching your image. So that's a really good way that you can go about adding images to your stories and making them look a little bit nicer. Next, let's go ahead. So we've entered in this information for our story brief. And if we scroll that, we'll now go ahead, we're going to enter in some information into our story content. So from here, again, this is what will appear within the full page for our story, and but it won't appear on our homepage. So let's add a couple things. So in our story content, let's go ahead and we can add a link. So if from the toolbar that we have for our story content, if we wanted to add a link to share in the story, we can simply click on the link button or the link toolbar option. And this will open up this new window where we can start entering in some information for our link that we want to create. The first option, this is the main feature that you should take a look at to familiarize yourself with creating a link. If you were to click on this drop-down menu, you can see that there are a couple of different options that you can select from. The default one being URL. So what this will let you do is it'll let you enter in any website address or URL that you want. So if you wanted to, we can type in, let's say clubrunnersupport.com. And if we were to go ahead and click on OK, you can see that that link has now been added to our story content. But there are a couple other options as well. So let's go ahead and click on that link option once again. And let's now select a different link type. So we have a couple that are listed here for you that you can choose from. And essentially what this will do is it will let you select between different pages that are available within ClubRunner. So you can select built-in page, and you'll now be able to select between a bunch of the pre-built pages that ClubRunner has created and it makes available for every club. And everything that's on these pages will automatically update based on the information that has been entered into ClubRunner. So we can select between any of these different built-in pages, but it doesn't have to be your built-in pages. You can choose to select custom pages, and this will let you choose between a bunch of the different custom pages that you've created within the club. You can also link to a document that's been uploaded or any download files. You can choose to link to create an email, any events, photo albums, sign-up lists, site pages, all of that information. I recommend taking a look at all of these different link types and familiarizing with what each one of them does and what you can access with each one of them. Because this will let you create links just about anywhere to wherever you would like, whether it be on a different website or within your own website. So this is a great tool if you want to share any links with anyone. But you may have noticed that when we originally added our link, we have it listed now as http://www.clubrunnersupport.com. That doesn't look really nice, and it's not very friendly, I think. But what if we wanted to make it so that instead of showing the link itself, we can create what's called a hyperlink, and we can have it set to say, click here to go to ClubRunner, ClubRunner support knowledge base. Go to the ClubRunner support knowledge base. Instead of showing the link itself, what if we wanted to make a piece of text appear as the link? So what we can do in that case is we can, using our mouse, we can click and drag over the text that we want to create our link as. And that will do is it'll highlight it, as you can see here. And now when we go ahead and click on the link option, you'll be brought to that very same link properties window that we saw before. And this time, when we enter in the address or the link that we want to share, when we click OK, that text will now be updated to be that link. So you can see that it now has that blue link color as well as the underline to indicate that it is in fact a link. If we were to click on this currently, it wouldn't work. We wouldn't be able to go anywhere. But once we publish that story, all of that information will be available as well. Next. There's one more thing that I would like to show off while we're creating our story, is that we get quite a bit of questions regarding how you can go about sharing. You can go about sharing YouTube videos or Vimeo videos with your club and your membership. What you can do in that case is you can choose to embed the image within either a story, which we'll do in this case, or you can embed it into an individual custom widget for your club's website. So let's go ahead and we're going to embed a YouTube video into our story. So the first thing that we're going to want to do this is we're going to go ahead and click on the Embed Media toolbar option. And this will open up a new window where you can see we have a big text field that says paste embed code here. So where do we get this embed code that we need? So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our YouTube video that we already have available here. This is the Club Runner mobile app YouTube video. If you want more information on the mobile app, feel free to come to this video. You'll be able to see anything. Or you can send us an email to our support@clubrunner.ca website or email address. Or you can go to either the Google Play Store or the Apple Play Store to download this mobile app. But in order to access the embed code, at least for YouTube in particular, this process does change across video sharing services, but for YouTube, this is how you can go about doing it. Just below the video player itself, you'll see this share button. If you go ahead and click on the share button, a new pop-up window will appear for you where you can select between a couple of different things. The item that we want to select here is the very first option, and it says embed. When we click on that option, the pop-up will change slightly. You'll be able to see the video itself. And on the right side, you will have your embed code. So you can see here we have iframe with all of this information. What you can do in the bottom right corner, go ahead and click on the copy link. And you'll get a nice little message in the bottom right corner, bottom left corner, saying that the embed code has been copied. And now we can go back to to the story that we were working on, right click and paste that embed code into that text field. And once you've done that, go ahead and click on the OK option. And now you can see this, make this a little bit bigger for you. You can see that Club Runner mobile app video has now been included within our story content. So that's how you can go about creating a story. Now let's go ahead and we can do some final options for it, and then we'll get it published to our website. The very last options that we have is for the blog. You can choose, if you would like to, you can choose to enable comments so that individuals or visitors to your club's website will be able to leave a comment on your story, and you'll be able to review them and do whatever you would like with those comments. So if you want people to be able to share feedback or just allow them to post anything that they would like on your story, go ahead and click on the enable comments option. And should at any point you want to no longer accept comments, but you can come back to your story and click on the close comments option. And that will prevent people from entering any new comments on the story, but all of the previous ones will still be available. And then finally, you can choose to add some tags for your club story. So if someone were to go to the search bar in the top right corner, if that has been enabled for your club, they'll be able to enter in some keywords and they'll be able to find that story through that search page. So let's go ahead and we can just go for an example. If you were to click on the window or this drop this like little triangle icon, a big list of some existing tags will already be available. So you can choose to select them and add them yourself, or you can manually enter in a new tag for if you would like. So let's go ahead. Ooh, we have webinar already. So let's try website content webinar. And you'll have that up here. And once you're happy with the tag, go ahead and click on the enter key, or you can click on the tag in the window that was up above, and that will officially add that tag to your story. And then now that we have, so just to recap, we have entered in our title and all of our story settings. We have filled out our story brief with whatever content you would like to include. And we have also entered in some information for our story content, including some links, as well as a embedded YouTube video. And then finally, we've also chosen to allow comments, and we've entered in some tags that we can use to search for the story. We are now good with our story, and we can now choose to publish it to our website. So there are a couple options here. Of course, there is cancel. So if you change your mind and you don't want to publish this, you don't want to publish it, you want to cancel all of it, simply just click on the cancel option. It'll bring you back to the story library where you can start again. Or if you're not ready to publish, we're not ready to publish the story, but you want to come back and continue to work on it at a later date, you can choose to save your changes as draft, and that will leave the story in a draft state so that you can come back and edit it at any point. Next, we'll go ahead and click. So now we're going to publish it to our story. Just go ahead and click on Save and Publish. And you will get this new, you'll get this big window up here that'll ask you where you want your story to appear. So there are a couple of different options. You can choose to display the story in the homepage stories widget. So this is what will allow the story to appear on your homepage. And then you can also choose to display it on the story list page, which is essentially a big list on your club's website that will list out every single story that the club has made available on that page. And if you want to include this in any bulletins as well, you can select those. You can select those too. But for now, we'll leave the options as it is, and we'll go ahead and click on Confirm to finalize all of our changes and publish it to our website. So you can see Story Club Runner website content webinar added and published successfully. So now let's go back to our homepage so we can take a look at it. I want to refresh the page. And as you can see, we have our Club Runner website content webinar with our red and bold text appearing underneath our club stories. Here is that logo that we had entered before. And then here is the rest of the content that we have in our website content. If we were to go ahead and click Read More, just like I mentioned before, everything that has been entered into the story content section of the story itself is now visible within that full page that we are on for our story. So we can go ahead and we can click on the Club Runner support links. We can watch the video if we would like. So we can do all of that sort of stuff. And then down at the bottom, you can see we have our social media share bar. So individuals can choose to like it on Facebook, share it to their Facebook feeds, their Twitter feeds, LinkedIn, Pinterest, or in an email. And then finally, you can see where this is where you can leave in comments. So let's just enter a comment for fun. Just say welcome, click send. And you can see that our comment has now been left on the story. So anyone else will be able to come back and they can review any comments that have been left on the story as well. So that's just about everything for how you can go about creating stories and including them on your website. So let's go back to our member area. And I see that we're starting to run out of a little bit of time. So I'm going to see if I can cover just about everything else that we need to do. There's a couple of other options that we can, things that we can do here other than our stories. One of the big ones is you can choose to upload documents and files to your website. And there's a couple of different areas that you can do that within Club Runner. Mainly one being with the club's private documents. And you can also upload images to, or sorry, not images, documents to your club's download files. These are both two different areas, but they are very different. And I do want to clarify that for everyone. Anything uploaded to the private documents section, provided that you select it as private, will be only available to users that can log into your club's website, while anything uploaded as a public download file or as a public document will be able to, anyone will be able to access those. So if they have the link to the image or to the document, they'll be able to go in and download that document. Regardless of whether it's been shared on the website itself. If they have that link, they will be able to access it. So it is very important that if you are uploading anything as a public download file or as a public document, that it does not contain any confidential information or anything you wouldn't want to share with a random person visiting your website. So let's go ahead and we're going to upload a couple of different documents. First, I want to show you guys your club's private documents. So from the top blue navigation bar, go ahead and click on Organization. And then just below, we can click on Documents. And this will bring us to our private documents page, where we can go about uploading. Any documents that we want to share with our club. So we have a number here listed already, but let's go ahead and we'll add some new items. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and click Add Folder so that we can create a new folder to organize everything together. Yes, we're going to click Add Folder. So let's go ahead and we can type Rotary Club of Greentown Private Documents. So that's the name of our folder that we're creating. We can add in a short description, Private Documents. And if we want to include this folder within a different folder, we can select that here for now. But let's just go ahead and leave it as is. Let's go ahead and click on the Save button. And you can see our Rotary Club of Greentown Private Documents folder has now been added. Now, if we wanted to upload a document itself to this folder, we're going to come along the record here, and we're going to go ahead and click on the Add button. And this will bring you to the new page where we can start uploading all our new documents. So let's enter in our title. So let's just say club document. Just like before, on other pages that we've seen, the permalink will automatically fill in. I would recommend leaving this as it is, but if you are an advanced user, you can change this. And then you can also choose to enter in a description of the document. So once again, let's just go club document. You can write about just about anything here. It doesn't have to be just club document. This is just for the sake of the example. Next, we can select what folder we want it to appear in. We do want it to appear in that Rotary Club of Greentown Private Documents folder, so we'll leave that selected. And then you can see here you have the access level. This is what will determine whether this club document that we're uploading is available to members of the public, or if it's only available to members of our club. Again, if you are selecting this public option, that will make it available to just about anyone that visits your club website. So I can't stress this enough. If you are uploading a public document, please make sure that it does not contain any information you would not like shared with anyone on the internet. If it contains things like contact information, confidential information regarding the club or any of your members, make sure that it is set to requires login, or just don't upload it at all. The requires login will be, if you select requires login, it will be accessible by anyone in the club. So that's a good way to limit who can view the documents themselves. But if you don't want to share it with everyone that visits your website, do not select that public option. So we've entered our title, our description, and we've selected our access level and the folder we would like the document to appear within. Now let's actually go about uploading the document itself. So we're going to go ahead and click on the Browse button here. And this will bring up that very same Windows Explorer. Again, this may look different depending on which operating system you are using. This is what it looks like for me. So I'm going to go ahead and select this club document that we have here. Click Open. And as you can see, the text that appears here is now updated to the name of the file that we've selected. And once we've selected that, we can go ahead and click on the Save button. And now we are brought back to our private documents page, where we can select our document that we have here. Next, we can show you how you can upload a download file to your club to share with visitors to your website. Let's go back to our website content. So in the top blue navigation bar, click on Website, and then Website Content. And from here, we can go to along here under homepage content, simply go ahead and select homepage download files. And this is where we can see a list of all of the download files that we have available on our club's homepage. To add a new download file, go ahead and click on the Add Download File button. And just like before, or just like the other document that we've entered, we can enter in a title. So let's say public download file. And then from here, we can click Browse to select our document again. And then we're just going to go ahead and select that very same club document that we uploaded to the private documents, just as an example. So we're going to either double click on it, or we can click and then click Select Open. And then finally, you can choose whether you want this document to appear within the homepage or the Download Files widget. And just like I mentioned before, at the top of the page, you'll see a nice note that indicates that download files that we're uploading here are always public to just about anyone that will be able to visit your website. So if they have the link to the download file, they will be able to access it. So again, please make sure that you are not including any private information in any documents that you're uploading as a download file. So once you are happy with everything that's been entered here, go ahead and click on the Save option, or sorry, the Save link. And that will upload our new public download file to our homepage download files. And you can see that it is listed here, and it is set to show on our homepage. So if we were to have the download files widget available on our homepage, it will now be listed there. So so that's just about everything for our club documents. And I'm sorry, we are running about a little bit out of time. So I want to make sure that we can cover just about everything else that we have available. There's only a handful of things that we have here. So next, we're going to go talking about your club's calendar. So let's actually go to our homepage once again. And we're going to go to visit our club's calendar. So we can do this by going to Events and Calendar in the top corner, and then click on Calendar. The navigation that you might use on your club's website might be different depending on how your club has this set up. But this calendar page is available for every club. And you can see we have a couple of different options here that are listed, a couple of different items on our calendar already. So we can see here we have our weekly club meetings. And we also have a speaker item, a speaker coming in to speak on these days for our club. So we have James Usel and Kevin Gardner here. And we also have some more information about our barbecue and a couple other items as well. If we wanted to add anything to this page, there's a few things that we can do. We can create an event, which we won't be covering in this webinar, unfortunately, or we can create a speaker or a calendar item. So to do either of those things, we're going to want to go back to our member area. And to add a speaker, in the top blue navigation bar, go ahead and click on Events. And then in the secondary bar just below, click on Speakers. And from here, you can see a list of all of the upcoming speakers that we have. And there is Kevin Gardner and James Usel, as we mentioned before. So let's go ahead and click on the Add New Speaker button to create a new speaker record. So the very first option that we have here is the date and time that our speaker will be available for our club. So we can go ahead and click on the calendar icon to begin selecting the individual date that they will be attending. So let's go ahead and we will select let's say the 31st. And from here, we can choose to enter in the date, or sorry, we can enter in the time for our speaker. So with these little arrows and the box in the corner, the cardinal arrows, we can click on the square in the center to enter in the current time, local time for you. And then you can use these arrow icons to adjust this. So say we want to change the hour that they will be speaking. So we can click on the up or the down arrows or triangles to increment or decrease what the currently selected number. So currently we're editing the hour, the hour for our time. So let's go ahead and we can increment this a few times to say, so we're going to make this 7 p.m. So we're going to set it as 7. And then we can click on the right triangle to move over to the minutes. And then from here, we can increment or decrease the time. So we've set this to 0, 0, but the time is automatically incremented back to 8 since we kept incrementing. So let's move back over and decrease the time back to 7. And of course, you can manually type this in as well, but this option is available for you to use as, if you would like to. Next, we can enter in the speaker's name. So let's just say, we'll say here, we'll bring John Valentine back. He's our speaker, and he will be discussing how you can go about, let's say how to create website stories, for example. Website stories. If you would like to upload an image of the speaker, you can do that. It is the exact same process. You click on the browse button, navigate to where you have your picture stored, and then you can select it from your computer. And when you can go ahead and upload that. But we're not going to upload an image in this case. Next, you can go about adding any comments that you would like to share. So John will be speaking about how to use Club Runner and share stories and news articles with the club through your club website. So we can just enter in some information. You can enter in whatever you would like here. Again, this is just for the sake of an example. And then next, you can choose to display that very same social media share bar. So you can select between yes or no. So let's leave it as yes. And then finally, we have a required option or required field here that will indicate that you have received the consent from the speaker themselves, that you can share their information and store their information within your club's website. If they don't want their information stored, you will not be able to add their information to Club Runner. You will have to make sure that you have their consent before adding any of this information to your website. So once you have their consent, go ahead and click on this checkbox here to say that you do have their consent. And then all you have to do from there is go ahead and click on the save button. So now if we were to go back to our calendar and refresh the page, you can see that John Valentine is now showing up on the 31st of our club's calendar for July. And if we were to click on his name, you will be brought to a full page where we can see all of the information that we've just created. If we were to have uploaded an image, that will be available here, but you can see there the date and the time of when they will be speaking, their name, as well as the topic they'll be covering, and any comments that we've entered as well. And of course, here is the share bar at the bottom. But that's not the only option that is available for you to add things to your calendar. We also have what's called calendar items. So in this case, back in our member area, instead of clicking, we're going to the very same menu, sorry. We're going to click on events. And instead of speakers, we're going to click on calendar items recurring. So we have a few here already. But what this will do is I'll let you create custom calendar items to appear within your calendar. So these are all of the ones that we have available already. But to create a new one, go ahead and click on the Add Calendar Item button. And just like before, and all of the other items that we've created, we can begin entering in some information about this calendar item. So let's say, for example, our club will be hosting RibFest every 2 weeks. So we want to make sure we can get that available on our calendar for everyone to see. So let's say RibFest 2021. We can then choose to enter in whatever description we would like. So come join us for fantastic ribs and barbecue. Oops, spelled that wrong. Fantastic. There we go. So we've entered in our description. And just like in the stories and any other descriptions and things like that, you can go about embedding media, including images, all of that sorts of stuff. You can include that here as well. So let's scroll down just a little bit and we can start entering in our location information. You don't have to include this, but if you do want to include a location, you can. So let's go ahead and enter in some information about the Club Runner office. Actually, so we'll add in the Club Runner head office address. So let's say Club Runner office. Now we can go to Oakville, Canada, Ontario. So we can also choose to add in a latitude or longitude, which will display a map for the location. In this case, we don't have this information right now, but you can choose to enter in this information straight from Google or from Google Maps or Apple Maps or anything like that. If you can get the latitude and longitude, you can enter in that information here. And then finally, we have the option to select the dates of our event. So in this case, we have RibFest occurring every 2 weeks. So we're going to want to we're going to select the very first date that it will be occurring on. So let's say we are having RibFest, say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we'll select Monday, July 19th. This was from earlier in the week, but we'll go ahead and we'll set it as that for now. And then we can go ahead and select the time that it will start. So let's say for 9 a.m. And then so this event will run for 3 days. So we'll go through to Wednesday, July 21st at say 7 p.m. That's when it will end that very same week. So we'll go from July 19th from 9 a.m. to July 21st at 7 p.m. So we've entered in the dates and times for RibFest. But we also want this to occur every 2 weeks or every other week. So what we can do here is we can select the recurrence option. We have two options here, one time. So this will enter in a single calendar item for the event, or we can select recurring. And what this will do is it will let you set up the event so that it will reoccur every so often. So in this case, we want to have this event occur every 2 weeks. So we can select between the recurrency down here on the left side. So we can select between daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly. But in this case, let's go ahead and select weekly. And from here, we can select, we want this to occur every 2 weeks on the days that we have here. So we're going to, in this case, we're going to select the very first date that the event will be starting at. So we'll select Monday. And then from here, you can see the recurrence will start on July 19th, 2021, which was the date that we entered as the original start date. And then we can enter in how many times we want the event to occur. So in this case, we'll only be hosting it 4 times. So we're going to go ahead and enter in to end the event after 4 occurrences. But if you wanted to select a specific date as well, you can do that with the option and selecting a specific date. So let's go ahead, now that we've had all this information entered, let's go ahead and click OK. So we can see it'll now recur every 2 weeks on Monday 4 times. So let's go ahead and click on the Save button to finalize all of that. And you can see here, RibFest is now scheduled for July 19th, 2021 to July 21st, 2021. And this will occur on a weekly basis every 2 weeks. So let's go back to our club's calendar. So we're going to go to events and then calendar. And now you can see that RibFest has been added to our club calendar. You can see here it spans from July 19th to the 21st. And then it will go down a few weeks to August 2nd to the 4th. And if we were to move, we were to go to the next month on our calendar by clicking on this arrow icon in the top corner, you can see it will continue on through August. So August 2nd to 4th, August 16th to the 18th, and then August 30th to September 1st. So that's how you can go about adding all of these calendar items in here. So you can add just about whatever you want on your club's calendar using either events, speakers, or calendar items. So these are all great tools that you can use. And now that we've covered that, there is one final thing that I do want to share with everyone, and that is how you can go about uploading photo albums to your club's website. So let's go back to our club's member area. And this time, let's go in the top blue navigation bar, go to website, and then website content. And from here, we can see in the getting started page, homepage photo albums. So let's go ahead and click on that option. And again, you'll see a big list of all of the photo albums that you have available on your club's website already. And then we can go ahead and click on create new photo album. And just like before, we can start entering in any information. So we can enter in our photo albums. Let's say RibFest 2021 photo album. Again, permalink will be automatically filled. If you're an advanced user, you can change this if you would like, but I do recommend leaving it as it is. You can choose to enter in a description, just like usual. So we'll say photos of RibFest 2021. Next, you can choose to whether you want to share this photo albums on the public photo albums page. If you would like to do so, leave it checked. If not, you can uncheck it. Again, so you can select some information. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to very quickly enter in all of this information. So you can select the owner of the photo album. You can select the date of the photo album, or so you can indicate more so when these photos were taken or anything like that. So we'll leave it as July 23rd for now. If you want to select a photo album logo, you can choose to upload one, or you can load it directly from the image library. So let's click on the load from image library link that's there. And you can see we have our image library open up, and we can now select any of the images that we already have available. So let's double click on this one here, and it looks like some nice barbecue. So we'll enter in that, and you can see that's now been loaded for us. Finally, or well, not finally, but we can also choose to show our social media share bar as usual. And then the very last option is the slideshow settings. So once you've selected, entered in all of this information for your photo album, you will be able to go in and you can go in and enter in some specific settings for the actual slideshow that you'll be able to view after everything's been set up. So you can set the interval time. So this will be how long an image will stay on the screen. You can also select the transition time. So this is how long it will take to appear for the slideshow to change between different images. And you can as well as change how it looks when it transitions between your images. So you can go ahead and play around with all of these settings and however you would like it. We will go ahead and leave it as the defaults for now. And we can go ahead and click on the save option once we have all that information set. And now the system will put all of that information together. And you can see at the top of the page, we have our RibFest 2021 photo album. Yep. So we'll go ahead and click on the title for that so we can start adding some photos to it. So next, from here, we can see all of our photos that we have uploaded. Currently, we don't have any. So let's go ahead and click on the Upload Photos button. And then you'll be brought to a new page where we can start that upload. So let's go ahead and click on Add Files. Sorry, just give me 1 second. There we go. So we've clicked on Add Files, and we can now select between the files on our computer itself. So we have a few here, so we can select between our CR icon, this, and a couple other nice images that we have here. You can choose to select them all, or you can do them all individually. If you want to select them all, go ahead and hold the Control key on your keyboard, and then just click on each individual one, and that will allow you to select all of the images that you would like to include. So let's go ahead and click on the open icon now that we have everything selected. And this will list them all here, but we haven't actually uploaded them quite yet. So let's go ahead and click on the Start Upload button at the bottom right corner. And you can see that the system will now go through and I'll start uploading each of these images to our photo album. And once that's done, you'll get a nice little confirmation message saying that the upload has been completed and all of the files you've been uploaded were successful, and it'll also let you know if any of them had failed to upload too. So we've uploaded our images. Let's go ahead and click on the OK button, and this will return us back to that photos page. So we've uploaded all of the photos for our photo album. Now let's go back to our home page, and I'm actually going to go to photo albums. And you can see we are now on the photo albums page for our website. Again, your navigation to this page itself may be a little bit different depending on how this has been set up for your club. And now let's see if we can find it here. So it looks like it hasn't quite updated on this page quite yet, but we do have a couple of other different photo albums that we can take a look at. So let's go ahead and click this Club Barbecue one just for the example. And we can see here, we can go ahead, actually this may not be the best option. Let's go back to, let's say, photo album here. This one only has one image, sorry about this, guys. Christmas dinner. There we go. So this is one we can take a look at. So let's go ahead and click. So this is our photo album. We can see the photo album image that we've uploaded. This is the logo photo album, the CR logo that's here. And then you can also see a preview of all of the images that have been uploaded to this photo album. Now, if we wanted to see the slideshow for this photo album, we can go ahead and click on the Start Slideshow button. And this will open up a nice window, full screen on your computer, where you can see that it will slowly rotate between all of the photos that we have included. So we have two that are here already, and based on the settings that we've applied previously for our photo album, all of it will rotate between them on that time, and it will change and it will transition between them, as you can see it's doing already. We only have two photos in this album currently, so it's just rotating between the two. But if you had more, it would go through each and every single one of them. So that'll just about cover everything that we'll be talking about today in our webinar. So I wanted to thank you all very much for joining me today, and I'm going to go ahead and pass the webinar over to Sean, who will be going through and answering a bunch of questions that you guys may have asked during the webinar, as well as just some other information that he may like to share. So thank you very much, guys. I hope the Q&A session goes very well. I hope Sean is able to give out some great information. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Michael, for sharing all that great information. So of course, during the presentation, we did have lots of great questions coming in. So I did try to answer them as best as I could as we were going along, but there was some that I did mark for the Q&A session here. So we will go over them now. So the first question that we have here was the question about the club news widget versus the stories widget. So mainly what the difference between them is in regards to the formatting. So there is a little bit of a difference. So let's go ahead and open up the website designer here. So we're going to click New Website Beta, then click Homepage Designer. And we have here on the main section, the stories widget. And then on the right, we have the news widget. So first thing we'll take a look at is the stories. So in terms of formatting, if we click this little gear icon to open up the stories properties, and we scroll down, we'll see that in the settings section, we have a layout option, and we can change this between regular, columns, and scrollable. So if you want to change the look of the widget itself, so you can see here, we have the title, the images, and kind of the content there as well. If I go ahead and just change this to the column layout and click Save, you'll see that it does change how the widget is displayed. So this is for the stories. And again, if we go back to properties, and we scroll back down, we do have another option here, the scrollable option. We'll go ahead and click Save. Okay, let's refresh here. Perfect. There we go. And you can see that the widget does update, and it does have these little arrows, so you can scroll to the left or to the right. So this is specifically for the stories. If we hover over the news widget and click the properties, And if we scroll down, we'll see we don't have those options. So if the club is looking for those advanced layouts, we would recommend using the stories widget because it does offer the couple of different layout options for you to use. The next question, actually, we had quite a few questions about the social media option. So we'll take a quick look at that. I know Michael did mention that. So let's go back here and let's open up a story. So we're going to go to website up at the top and then click on website content to get to our content library. On the left here, we're going to go ahead and click libraries. And then again, on the left, we'll go ahead and click story library. So let's take a look at this one here, the one that Michael was working through. We're going to go ahead and click edit. And if we take a look here, we do have that social media option enabled. And what that does allow you to do is it allows you to easily and quickly share that specific article to different social media platforms. So if I go to the homepage by just clicking this home link on the very top right, and I'm going to go ahead and click on this option here. This is the story that we want to view. And if we scroll down to the very bottom, we'll see we have these different icons. So these are the different icons of the supported social media platforms. And in order to share this particular story, for example, we're going to click the icon of the platform that we want to share on. So for example, if we want to share on Facebook, we'll just go ahead and click on this Facebook icon. And it's going to pop up and it's going to ask you to log in. So in order to share an item to Facebook, you do have to have a personal account and you do have to log into that personal account. And then once you do that, the page will pop up. It'll ask you if you want to, write any message, and then it'll give you the option to share. And similar to the other options down here, you do need an account. So if you are planning on sharing content within any of these platforms, you do need a personal account in order to do that. It isn't something that's configured in Club Runner. It's just something that the user who wants to share does. So just make sure that you do log in here, and you will be able to successfully share this particular story onto your account. Okay. And the next question we have here is in regards to the stories and asking about copying and pasting content into story, if that's possible. So I did see this question a few times in the Q&A, and yes, we can definitely copy and paste content into this section here. This is our editor section. I'll scroll down a little bit here. We can, paste content into here. So if I copy this, we can paste it by hitting Control V. But we also have these paste options up at the top. So on the toolbar, we have our regular paste, we have the paste as plain text, and we have the paste from Word. So if, for example, the club has some information in Word, excuse me, that they want to display in the story, you can certainly copy the content from Word, and you can paste it into the story content or the story brief. We do recommend in that case, you do use this paste from Word option. And what that will do is it will allow you to paste the content without any of the extra code that Microsoft Word inserts in their program. So in order to copy the content from Word, we do highly recommend the paste from Word option. And of course, if you're copying, content from a website or something like that, you can always use paste as plain text as well, or just a regular paste. So we do have a few options. Do keep that in mind, especially we do see it often where, sometimes some code is copied from Word and it doesn't appear correctly on the website. So just be mindful, you can definitely use that paste from Word option on the editor toolbar up at the top here. And that will handle all of that extra code that you don't want in the content when you're pasting it into the story. And we do have another question here, the final question that I actually marked. It's in regards to the image in the story. And it's regarding the placement. So how we can change the placement and have text wrap around the image. Michael did show this, but just in case, you can see here that we do have the text wrapping around to the right of the image. And if I go ahead and double click on this image here, in order to do that, all we have to do is we set this align option. So right now the align option is set to left, which means that this image is going to be aligned to the left and the text that we have is going to be wrapped around to the right. Now, if we wanted to change that, of course, we can change it to right, and this will place the image over to the right and the text will flow around it on the left. So if I go ahead and click OK, you can see now the image is on the right here and all of the text floats around it on the left. So if you do want that effect with the text wrapping around the image, you can definitely do that using the alignment option. We do also recommend using the H space and V space, so the horizontal and vertical space, just to give some extra space between the text here. As you can see, there's a little bit of space here, which is great. You don't want that text right up against the image. So you do have control over that as well. And that wraps up the Q&A session that we have here today. Hopefully got to all of the questions during the webinar. If you guys do have any questions, if you're not sure about how to do something, you can certainly visit our Club Runner support website. So it's clubrunnersupport.com. We have lots of guides, help articles, as well as videos, and we do have recorded webinars that you can watch as well. So definitely feel free to visit our knowledge base here. You can also contact us if you do have any trouble using this contact us button at the very top. And if you do want to learn a little bit more about Club Runner, we do have a few more sessions during our changeover training in July. So you can come to clubrunner.com/training, and we have all of our training options listed here. So we do have a couple more next week. So if you are interested, please feel free to register through this specific page on our Club Runner website. So like I said, that about wraps it up for today. If you do want to start a discussion, or if you are interested in the recorded versions of these webinars, you can definitely visit us here as well at our clubrunnercommunity.com website. We will be posting them there as well as on the knowledge base, which we just showed. So do keep an eye out for that. And of course, if you do have any questions, you can visit the Club Runner support website, or you can email us at support@clubrunner.ca. So once again, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today, and hope you have a great day.